Hi, I'm Dr. Sandy Queen with Queen Homeschool Supplies at queenhomeschool.com. Today I'm going to do a flip through of our award-winning Language Lessons for Little Ones Volume 2. Each book in this series has 180 daily lessons to take you through an entire school year. And before I even get started, I'd like to ask you if you would please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more flip throughs of all of our books. We publish over 400 books for the Charlotte Mason Style Home Educator and have been doing so since 1994. So long time, and we're still at it, still coming out with new stuff. I would like to talk about each of the books in this series as well as many of our other books. I'm going to give you a flip through. People often ask, even though we do have samples, printable samples of multiple lessons on our website at queenhomeschool.com that you can print out and even just observe online and see the differences as well as descriptions on each of the volumes in this series. Sometimes people just don't want to have to pay the expense to go to a convention to look through the entire thing, and that's where our flip through videos come in handy. You can sit at home and flip through our books, and that is our goal for the coming months, is to flip through every one of our books so that you can see what they're like inside without having to pay to go to a homeschool convention just to look through our books. So let me go ahead and get started. Language Lessons for Little Ones, I already did a flip through of volume 1. This is volume 2, as you can see by the 2 here in this on the cover. This book assumes that they know their alphabet letters, upper and lower case, which is what's taught in volume 1, which is just called Language Lessons for Little Ones. This one picks up with that foreknowledge and starting to get into teaching them how to read with short vowel and long vowel words in this particular volume. Volume 3 picks up there and goes through every other phonics rule in the English language. But today I'm going to flip through this book. This book moves very slowly and gently through the year because it's for a young child. Most kids using this will be anywhere from 3 to 6 years old, but our books are very flexible. And whenever your child knows their alphabet letters and what they look like, how to recognize upper and lower case letters, and are ready to move into learning phonics and starting to put those, get the words, the way they sound and put letters together to make words, that's when they're ready to begin Language Lessons for Little Ones Volume 2. So I'm going to scoot over here so you can get a better look at the book and show you. There's my son Jeremiah when he was little on the cover. In the very beginning here, it's going to give you a letter to the parent, like all the books in this series do, just telling how this series is set up, how to use the books in this series. And that's what you'll see, if I can get to it, right here in the beginning of each of the Language Lessons books. Okay? This particular book is going to have, all of the books in this series are going to have beautiful full color artwork for picture studies. At this age, they're not ready to do writing yet, but we use the picture studies to start training them in the habits of paying attention to detail and narration, which will build the skill of expressing themselves creatively when they're not yet even ready to start writing stories. We have them look for specific things in the paintings and tell about them, tell about maybe what they think's going on or what they see, or do you see this? What do you think this is? Or why do you think this is in the painting? That sort of thing, just to kind of draw them into the painting more. So you'll see each lesson is set up lesson by lesson. They are numbered, lessons 1 through 180. Some days we will have a poetry reading, like you see here, and we'll discuss it. Other days they will start getting into learning their letters and writing them, and that's what we see here. And here we're learning the sound for short A, and that's what's taught up here, okay? Here we're learning the sound for short B a few days later, and we're blending the A and B together to say ab and ba, okay? And then by lesson 11, we are starting to read short vowel words. We introduce the letter T and what it sounds like. And so they're learning to read at and bat. and they are writing those for some very simple copy work. This book goes along very nicely with our My First Pets Phonetic Readers series, which you'll see a different flip through video on our channel here showing that series, because all the words in those books contain short vowel are short vowel words that when a child is learning to read the short vowel words and can't read much else, they would be ready in this volume to also integrate the My First Pets Phonetic Readers. I'm not going to flip through 180 days here, but I'm going to give you an overview of how this book is set up. So again, you'll see days where they're learning phonics. You'll see days where you're reading poetry together and discussing that. Days where they're doing a narration on something related to the poetry from the day before. Days where they'll just have to read a few words that they've already learned the sounds for. And here we're introducing a new sound. And so they're learning how to read words with that sound and ones they've already learned. And that's how this book progresses through the year. You'll see picture studies pretty often because they're beautiful. They engage the child and show them some interesting things to look at. Okay, and we are not just looking at them, but again, we're discussing them. The child is narrating about them. We're looking for details, training in the habit of paying attention. And this book continues through the year, much like that, gently adding more and more phonics rules, picture studies. And as you can tell by the wall behind me in our office here at Queen Homeschool Supplies, we do like picture studies. We like classic artwork, and we have several gallery walls like this, one here in the office and a few others around the home as well. All right. And so anyhow, back to the book. All right. More poetry reading. And the poetry included in this volume are all poems geared toward young children. A lot of classic poetry like The Swing, The Cow by Robert Louis Stevenson, things like that. And we read them together. Then we have a day where the child does a narration and you discuss it together. Often you will see the week's picture study integrated in along with the poetry reading for that particular time period as well. You'll see some historical paintings like this one that we'll discuss. So lots of fun things in here. Fun poetry, encouraging poetry. All of our books are written from a Christian perspective, so you will see things that allude to the Lord here and there as well. Not overtly so much in the language lessons, but just so that you know, if you're looking for something that's secular, you probably are not going to want to look at Queen Homeschool Supplies. Our material is decidedly Christian, all right? Even it's integrated here and there in our handwriting programs and our language lessons programs, but it's not, this isn't a Bible study. You know, this is just a language lessons. So we might have a poetry reading that mentions how God made the world or something like that, or we may have in the older volumes where they're having sentences to copy. Maybe one of the sentences might allude to a family going to church, or the pastor had us over for lunch, or something like that. So that's what I'm talking about. We do actually have some secular umbrella schools and state funded voucher programs or whatever they are, scholarships, I guess, that do allow our books, even though they are from a Christian perspective. Not all of them. I have to go through volume by volume and tell them which ones have how much Christian content and all that. But, you know, just FYI. All right, so again, different paintings, different things that you'll see in here. More phonics rules. Now we're able to read sentences here because they've learned all the rules for these particular words. So by the end of this particular volume, they would be able to read things like, I can hide the dime in the tote. Okay, short vowel, long vowel with silent E words. They would be able to read things like that toward the end of Language Lessons for Little Ones Volume 2, and that's where Volume 3 will pick up. I'll do a separate flip through on that one. This one moves a lot more slowly through the phonics rules, and that's why we are just introducing phonics for the first time in this particular volume. Once they get into Volume 3, which you'll see in a later flip through, they've already got the knack for what phonics is all about, how to start blending sounds, and they're moving much more quickly, because by the end of Volume 3 in the little ones books, they will be reading pretty much anything. You know, they can read every word that you give them, and they will be able to move into Language Lessons for the Very Young, which would be the first one in this series that teaches English grammar. So I hope that has helped you to see what this book contains. You can find this on our website at queenhomeschool.com, and it's under, of course, the Language Arts section, the Language Lessons series. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already.